Well, once we licensed most of the Bob Marley catalog and we were planning on releasing these records in the highest quality possible, we've made friends with the family and the people that work for Bob Marley. And, we're talking about all these different ways of promoting and, just cool things about Bob Marley and his music. They're like, hey, man, it's going to be Bob Marley's 80th birthday. You got to come to this, man. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to record all these, local and famous reggae artists and Jamaica music, and we're going to have this big party at the Tuff Gong Studio. And they go, please, you ought to come to this. I'm like, they didn't have to ask me twice. It was like, when? I'm like, well, can you recommend a videographer to follow me around and to capture some of this stuff? Because we'd love to show all of our customers, what we get to see, like they can see what we were invited to, and they can just get a good idea of Jamaica and its culture and everything. And they're like, yeah, man, call Anna at Dread and Dread, and got to be friendly with her, and she recommended a guy named Raheem, and he was our driver, and he was also our videographer, and he took me all around Jamaica, and I'm so glad I went there. Have such much more appreciation for the music and the culture. Man, they just treated us so well. I mean, we had a great time. So on day one, we started this whole thing out by going to Tuff Gong Studio. And Tuff Gong Studio was the old federal studio which Bob Marley recorded in, and is one of the more famous studios for Jamaican music and reggae. And, first of all with, ska, and then rocksteady, and then later on reggae. And at some point, Tuff Gong bought the studio. So we went and met the people I've been dealing with over the phone, and we got to meet Julia Voss face to face, and Anna, the lady that helped do the tour. And then we went and we saw the recording studio. It was, it's an older place, but, to me, the best recordings are from the old. It's got a lot of good vintage stuff. Yeah, I mean, and just had a feel to it, a soul to it, and that's important. The musicians want to feel, they want to get in the groove and feel the soul of everything, and you definitely felt it there. There was it was a nice studio with a nice feel, and it was cool. Oh, and then I met Mr. Chow. It felt like an honor, and he's legendary, like such old history goes back with him that, he really knew Bob personally and has been around the whole time and still there. Thank you so much. And we saw the pressing plant and watched the record being pressed. It was cool to see their setup, and they had a bunch of SMT presses, the same as we have, made in Nashville, and they had some fine built manual presses, and so and then we saw the rehearsal hall in action. A lot of history there. Very, very cool to see it all, and the people were very warm and friendly, and were happy to show us all their awesome place. It was terrific. Then we went to Bob Marley's Museum, which was the house that Bob lived in later in his life, and where he got shot. And the tour guide was Bob's spiritual leader in the movie. So it was really cool to get a tour from him, Yeah, it was really, really cool to see the recording studio in the house. It had more in the back, had his cars. These are old vintage cars. And it was nice. And then we met Bongo Herman, and he was a bongo player. He's still living. He's getting up there, and he was on the grounds. And we walked the grounds and hung around there for a while. There's certain words you'll hear a lot in Jamaica, and one of them is vibing, the vibes. And the vibes was good. And then after that, we went meet the Minister of Culture, Babsy Grange. That was something I've never done before. So we went to a real official government building. They brought us into, a really big meeting room with the conference tables. And, she's really, important in the government. When you mention her name, everybody in Jamaica knows her, and she's very well respected. She was lovely. Just so full of soul, just such a real person, so it went from being nervous to feeling like you knew her your whole life. And she just wanted to share and show me everything that I might be interested in. They really understand how important Bob Marley is to reaching the rest of the world. And they took it very serious. But at the same time, as serious as they took it, we were having fun, man, and it was great, and they really treated me with a lot of respect, and so I really want to show people what I got to see, and for them to feel like they had a little trip and they learned something about Jamaica like I did. After meeting with Minister Grange, somehow we were just in the neighborhoods, and we see these just beautiful murals of reggae artists, and the yellows and the greens, beautiful colors, and it says Small World Studios. And this Jamaican guy walks up, because we're trying to open up the door, and he's like, no man, like it's closed, or like, what do you want, and we're like, oh no, we just saw this studio, wow, it just looks so awesome, we were just gonna go inside and see, I'm in the music business, and we come to Jamaica. And he's like, I see, man, I see. And then he goes, hold on. So he calls, and the guy that owns it walks up. His name is Bravo. So Bravo brings us into the studio, and it's the smallest studio in the world. It's like booths, but it's all set up. It's a studio, and it's historic, and it's been there forever. So we're in there, we're talking. I never really told him my name. I didn't tell him my company name. And as we're talking, he's like, are you Chad? And I about fell on the floor. I'm like, dude. And he's like, oh man, we have our friend in common. And he's a French producer that's produced a lot of reggae. We just couldn't believe it, so we talked. And then later, he brought us to Dynamic Studios. And this is where Byron Lee, who was a Chinese guy who had hits way back in the day, he brought us to their studio, which was also a pressing plant. So he brings us there. The lady that finally comes out, we're like, well, man, we'd love to see the presses in the studio and the lathe and everything. She goes, you won't believe we just sold it less than a month ago. She says, yeah. She says, it's gone. Some company came in and bought it all. And we're like, wow, we just couldn't believe it. And so, and Bravo took us around, man. He was a great guy, and now we're friends, man. We're, if I need something in Jamaica, man, he's on it. He's my guy. He's my man in Jamaica. But right down the street from Small World Studios was a record store called Rockers. And so we went there, and very small store, and they were just blaring the music outside. You know, people's hanging outside, and there's DJs in there spinning records. And so we went in there. It was, you know, a small store. I mean, definitely not for audiophiles. The records weren't exactly meant in there, but it was interesting to go in and see what they had for sale and meet the guy. And it's one of the more famous stores in the area, and that was cool.
Next time on Chad Does Jamaica.
Man, the potholes. You could lay in a pothole and just be flush with the road.
Please like and subscribe for more audiophile content.